All right, this is going to be a weekly recap from the 17th, I believe, because the 16th was Martin Luther King Day to the 20th. And there was a total of 7 trades, and these first 3 trades were a pain with DIY. After this, I stopped trading DIY, basically banned it from the stocks that I consider trading because it just had a horrific time bouncing. It was very toxic the way it traded. And then we had another red one with Bed Bath and Beyond, and then I had these 3 trades that worked out. I barely, like managed to make a profit, and I look forward to going over these trades one by one because I believe I left a lot of money on the table. I could have been super profitable. At least just looking at it now, these 2 things right here, I didn't have the right amount of size to trade $100 risk level. So I guess with this one, I would have needed, right, 40,000 shares, and then this one would have been 600 shares. So that would have already made the week a lot better. Anyway, let's just go ahead and start looking at the trades one by one, starting with DID IY on the 17th, which is already here. 17th is right here. I thought it was right there. This is the 17th, and this wick was not real. Let's go ahead and look at 5-day charts. And the 17th is going to be way back here. So this was a day. And essentially, it was trying to be something where it was going to ideally break above $5. And it was already trading above $5. Although I'm starting to think this might be super manipulative and not legitimate. The idea with this day was is that it was going to break above $5 and make a nice morning spike. As you can see, this did not happen at all. Let's go ahead and look at the trades, and I guess I'll do it from here because it didn't really trade anything significant towards the end of the day. The first trade was a morning panic bounce play, and this was at 9:38. I was in at 469, so 9:38 was right here at 469. So what did I get in this? Well, it wasn't able to do the thing, but I thought, maybe you could have like a panic, a dip and rip where it just sells off, wipes out a bunch of sellers, and then it can find a bottom somewhere and it can uptrend and at least get to VWAP. And best case scenario, it gets above VWAP and maybe it tries to get above $5 later. And I was in it right here because I think it was what, 936? No, 938 at 469. So 938 right here, 469. I got in it right here because I was thinking that maybe this is going to be the turnaround, and that was the reason essentially. I can't really make that any more simpler than that. It did have a green candle right here, and it was trying to bottom in theory and hold this 466 level, and I'm in at 469. I did get out the same minute at 466.5, and why did I get out of this one the same minute? Because it looked like it was going to break the day low, and it did, but it only broke and went under a few pennies to 464, which is really toxic. I hate it when I'm in for a morning panic bounce play. It looks like it's going to break the risk level, so I get out. And then it doesn't, break it and sell off and continue to downtrend. It just, goes 2 pennies lower. So, I feel like I just got cheated out of the position, which is why I tried it again at 939 at 468 and a half. So with that in mind, I got in again, thinking that, it just did a little dip right here and it wasn't like a continuous panic after it broke this day low. So I got in it at 468 and a half, thinking that maybe this time is going to turn around. And as you can see, it didn't. Super toxic stock. I got out 941 at 462. So 941 was right here. And this was the point because it looked like it was going to break the day low. And what do you know? It did it. But just briefly. It didn't, again, break the day low and continue to sell off. And then I did try it, I believe, one more time at 942 at 465 and a half. So 942 was right here at 465 and a half. So again, it broke it here a little, I got out, and then it broke it here a little, I got out. And I'm in it one more time at 465 and a half. I did get out of this one a bit later at 958. I was out completely at 462.75. So yeah, it was a bit later at 958. What do you know? It breaks the day low and just downtrends a little teeny bit. And it was frustrating because I gave up on the stock. And what did it do? It didn't get to VWAP, but it got close to it, and the uptrend was right after. And after that toxic mess with DIY, I decided not to trade that stupid stock anymore. It was pretty stupid to me the way it trades. Didn't even get to VWAP, and then it had like this ugly candle right here, and then it eventually did get to VWAP, but it was just for 2 minutes. So, if I were to have been profitable, if it were to have finally worked out, let's say I'm in at 465, and yeah, best case scenario would have sold at 479. So let's see what that would have been if I just traded it one more time and it worked. Yeah, all of that for just under 3%. Best case scenario, sell at the very top at VWAP. Really ugly. It did offer an opportunity, but it was so bad compared to all of the times it didn't work out. So I stopped trading the stock. Let's look at BBBY on the 18th. 18th is going to be right here. So essentially had a super crazy uptrend a very long time, and now it's trying to do another one of these. And the 18th is going to be back here. That was a very laggy transition. I am trying to export another video while I'm doing this. I was in at 10:08 a.m. at 463.83, so let's just say 464. And this was a dip towards, okay, I didn't finish that, I guess, or even type it right. I'm gonna guess dip towards VWAP. I think that's what the setup was. Let's look at 10:08, 464. I guess I'll zoom in a bit closer. 10 right here. 10:08 at 464. Right here. Dip towards VWAP. So why did I get in this? I actually like this setup. I hesitated on it, but it actually worked out. And that might have been why I jumped into this setup, because I missed this one and maybe I just wanted to jump in. And I guess I FOMOed this trade right here, but I like how I had like an inverse head and shoulders in theory, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then it transitioned from being under VWAP here to now closing multiple times, holding above VWAP, and with the volatile chart that it has, it did make a move up, broke the day high, and this was a super nice setup. I wish I was a part of it. I was looking at it, and in theory, I was planning to get in at 442. This one worked out, and I got in it right here because it did uptrend and all, and then it had like this sell-off right here, and it had a dip towards VWAP. And sometimes it's not too often, but a stock can be so bullish that it downtrends and it never touches VWAP. It just kind of hangs around above it, and then it continues the uptrend, and that's why I got in it for that reason. But this was pretty much a FOMO trade. This setup did not work out, and I got out at 10:10 very quickly at 6, not 6, 4 6, wow, 461 and a half at 10:10. 10:10 was right here, and I got out at 461. Why? I realized after I got in the position, this was a horrible setup, because I noticed that this was like the right shoulder of a potential head and shoulders, shoulder, head, and then a shoulder right here, and that just looked really bad. And not just that, this almost looks like a shoulder right here, and then this is the head, and now I was going to sell off and make a shoulder, which it did right here. So we have two head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then shoulder, head, shoulder. Realize that is a super bearish position, and I should have went short, if anything, and I got out of it for that reason very quickly. Just a scratch right there, not a significant percent loss or anything like that. Next trade is OZSC on the 19th, and this one was the best trade I had this week, at least in terms of profit. If I can type it. All right, the 19th is going to be here. Yeah, very unfortunate what happened, but it started the uptrend and it could have continued. And I think I was trading it for that reason on the 19th for something in the morning where it can continue the uptrend. Or I guess in this case, it was a morning panic bounce play. Yeah, this was a morning panic bounce play. Round number support. I was in at 933 at 1 penny. So 933, I'll zoom in some more, was right here. I got in at 1 penny. Why? Morning panic bounce play dropped from this point right here to under 1 cent. And I like how I went under a cent into sub penny territory. just briefly, and then it looks like it was going to immediately uptrend above a penny. So I like how it was like a morning panic, sells off, briefly breaks 1 penny, the nice round number of 1 penny, and then it looks like it's trying to reverse from there. I'm in it for that reason. 933 right here at 1 penny. I did get out of this one completely the next minute, and my average was 105 and a half. So 934 was right here. I got out at 105 and a half. So roughly right here is when I got out. And let's take a look at my notes here. But I got out because it broke a trend line. Yeah, so essentially I got in the setup, and then I had a trend line right here from this candle to the next one. And then I did sell a position, a portion of my position right here when it was at 106 in this green candle, I believe. And I did sell the rest once it looked like it was going to break under the uptrending trend line that I had in the same minute at 934. I sold 2 times in this same candle right here, and yeah, it did sell off unfortunately, and it didn't even bounce, which has been common with OTCs, although towards the end of the week it was starting to work a bit better. Let's look at the next trade, which is Rivian on the 19th. 19th is going to be right here. Yes, sir. Unfortunate that it broke under this range low and went even lower. Let's see what exactly I traded with it. Very sharp turnaround. Unfortunately, I never traded any of these. I did one here and I did one, I think, the next day or the day before this. Hopefully, I can be able to maybe try to, trade. And even if I lose money, just try, because those are really successful setups when they work and profitable. I was in at 950, 1603, and this was a dip buy under major support number. So let's look at 950, 1603. I'll zoom in some more. 950 right here, 1603. Why did I get in this? Well, I've seen this work multiple times with Rivian, where it drops towards 16 and it holds above 16 and continues to reverse after selling off, or sometimes it breaks it briefly and then it turns around. You can see it kind of did one right here where it held 16. So when I got in this, I was interested in it for a move towards VWAP, and then, if it's really nice, it's going to hit above it. At 952, I got out at the same price, basically 1603. 952 was right here, 1603, and I got out because I was pretty chicken with this one. I had a trade with yeah, this one right here, OZSC, and it worked out. And what happened was is that I didn't want to take this trade here, and then my risk level should have been this point right here, the bottom of this wick, for this dip buy around this 16 price point. And I didn't want this setup to fail and then I just lose the majority or all of what I just earned with OZSC, especially because OTC setups haven't really been working that well recently, especially with DIY. So what I did was that I had my risk level, I think it was this point right here, and it should have been right here. So what happened was is that I did get out when it looks like it was going to break this wick bottom, and it did, but it never broke what should have been the proper risk level, and this one did get above VWAP, and this would have been super profitable. Let's see what a sell would have been if I sold right at VWAP at 1612. Yeah, there was some potential there, even though, it was just $4. I mean, I'm trading a $10 risk level with this stock. If I traded $1,000 risk level, that would have been, a lot more profitable. But anyway, that's pretty much it for that setup. Didn't trade this one well because I didn't have the proper risk level, because I didn't want to lose my gains. But what ended up happening was, because I was trying to protect my gains, I actually prevented myself from getting more gains. So that's a good lesson. Let's look at the last trade, which is GTII on the 20th. Yeah, this one's been selling off, but it did try to do an uptrend again. I feel sorry for the people who got caught in this, move. I don't want to call it a pump and dump, but yeah, I hope people learn their lessons and just not trust people who seem to promote a stock because they have a lot of money in shares, and they're just trying to sell them off onto do you see the time right here? Okay, I've done this a lot later, but um, definitely a bit tired. Unsuspe Unsuspecting people. Okay, that was my best attempt at that pronunciation. I'm not gonna try it again. I was in at 942, let's just say 103, and this was a bull flag dip buy under VWAP. These are nice. This one worked out, I think. 942, 103. So let's go to this day right here. 942, 103. I got in it right here, roughly. Actually, right here. Why? Again, super nice uptrend, sells off, and it looks like a bull flag, and it's also a dip under VWAP. So ideally, it's going to break above VWAP, and then, uptrend some more. And in this case, it did uptrend some more and break the day high, which is super nice. There was a lot of opportunity to be super profitable with this, especially if I end up trading with more sites, God willing, a larger risk level, and make even more money. I did get out at 950 and my average was 104 and a half. So 950 was when I got out of my last piece, which was right here. My average was 104 and a half. So barely, that much money. And what happened was is that I'm in the setup and then it's kind of looking iffy and everything, not really working right then and there like I thought it would. And I did end up selling a piece before it started to work out an uptrend. And what happened was is that I sold more than half of my position. I think I had 200 shares that I sold. And whenever a setup, and this is a lesson, whenever a setup hasn't broken your risk level and it just looks a bit uneasy, I am not allowed to sell more than half. In fact, that's the lesson for the week right here. Um, let's just type it. Never sell more than half if setup looks hasn't broken risk level. There we go. That's the lesson for the week right here. If I were to have done that, I would have been able to have had more shares to sell profitably. And another mistake I had was is that once I got to the VWAP level right here, I sold everything that I had left, which was 100 shares. What I should have done was not sell more than 150 shares when it was still working out in theory, not breaking the risk level, and just in a situation where it could work, it could not work, but it looks a bit ugly, and I'm selling a piece. Never sell more than half, and then it got to the goal right here of VWAP. I did sell everything. I should have had an uptrending trend line, and I didn't use it. And in this case, I could have had one from here, corner from this candle to the first working candle, extend that to the right, and the time that it officially opened, yeah, maybe right here or maybe right here, I could have sold in the 113s and that would have been a lot more profitable. A lot of room for improvement. Let's just see what would have happened if I sold at 106 everything, what that would have been. Yeah, it would have been a lot more profitable. And again, it did get as high as 119, so let's see what that would have been. This is best case scenario. Yeah, imagine making 50 bucks with a $300 position. This is a 15% gain. So I guess actually, because it is above 15%, this one's a big yes. This one really did work out. So I am going to make that a 1, and that's going to bring that to a 75, which is going to be an upgrade to a D. And a 75 is going to be right here. It just just barely above 15%, but that's when I do say that a setup really worked out. That's it for this week. I could have done better. Again, if it hasn't broken my risk level, but it looks iffy, never sell more than half. Use trend lines if the setup is starting to work out. I did that with OZSC. I got out when it broke past the trend line, and that kept me from losing money because it immediately failed right after I sold and made that brief move towards VWAP, but never really at VWAP or above VWAP. Definitely a lot of room for improvement. I did miss a few dip buy setups with Rivian and Bed Bath and Beyond, but yeah, I hope I can keep getting better. I like the lessons here. Always good to see that there are stuff that I could do better. That's it for this weekly recap right here.